Two coats of paint later, and we'll leave it to dry for 20 minutes. The front and rear wheel bearing kits arrived today. These came from Wemoto, I think, and they contain, yes, they contain the seals as well that go with it. So I'm going to start with the front wheel, change the bearings out, and then if that goes successfully, we will go for the rear wheel. And just see if I can use a punch to knock them out. Or not. It took a combination of devices in order to get this out. It's original 40-year-old grease. I couldn't get any bearing on the bearing, so in the end I had to use a screwdriver to hold a punch in place to help wedge it against the face of the bearing to knock it out. It took me probably half an hour to work out how to do it. Let's see if we can just drive this bearing out the back now that we can get on the face. Yeah, we're getting there. And there she goes. The new bearings are sealed front and rear, so there's no point in packing grease or taking out a shield. That's seated. Now this one might be a bit more difficult because it's recessed and I don't want to get the old bearing stuck. So I'm not quite sure what we're going to do with this one. We'll get it as far as we can and then have a think about it. Right, we're now at the point where it's starting to recess, so there's a limit to how far I necessarily want to go with this. Oh, you twat. Okay, so I managed to wallop the polished aluminium and put a nice dent in it, and that won't be coming out in a hurry. Okay, a couple more taps and the bearing's now home. So she's up against the spacer that is inside that. I'm still pretty pissed off that I managed to wallop the aluminium, which is very annoying. Put a nice dent in it. Don't know if you can see it, but there it is. My shame. Anyway, as I say, on this particular bike it's not the end of the world. But right. Things didn't go well to start with. I've broken the inner race on here, which takes some skills, but I have just managed to free the bottom bearing, which might give us a better shot at getting this one out if that race doesn't destroy itself further. Okay, luckily I could get a bit of an edge on it, so it's now beginning to move, which is something positive at last, because it's been a bit of a I don't know, sometimes I think I've got the skills and then it turns out I actually don't. So what works for one vehicle doesn't always work for another. There we go. And just to show you what I inadvertently did, I managed to shatter the inner race. And my fear was that if I beat on the inside on this, that this would pop out and then leave me with a ring stuck in there. But luckily there was enough of an edge you could just get on it. So very lucky boy. That's bearing number 1 seated. And before I do anything else, I'm going to remember to put this tube back in. And just put a bit of grease on there just to stop any corrosion. Right, so I can't forget to put that in now. Wheel bearing number 2. That was not a smooth operation, and a little bit embarrassing actually, because that took way longer and took far more resources, I suppose, than it should have done. But we've got the 2 new wheel bearings in there now. They just need to be sent off for wheel building, and then they can go on the bike. It's one of the parts we're kind of waiting for now. Okay, so we're in the middle of the Corona scare at the moment, and I was worried I wasn't going to get these back from the platers, but they called today and kindly left them outside the building so I could grab them without having to talk to anyone. So yeah, lots of shiny bits and pieces. Some of them have come out beautifully, and other bits which I thought were going to be write-offs, although you can still see the patina of the rusting that were on them. Are certainly serviceable. It's not the sort of thing you'll really notice, I don't think, when it's on the bike. We've got brackets for the engine mounts, we've got the exhaust collar, all sorts of it. Even the old tax disc holder, springs, nuts, bolts. We should have everything here we need to put the bike back together. So I'm currently working on the tank, but it's not like the most critical part at the moment. So once the wheels come back from the builder, I'm waiting to hear from him, see if he's still alive. We can start getting the bike back together again, which will be exciting.